Hello and welcome to the Fictional or True Just Thinking podcast series. You may have noticed that I took a couple weeks off. I had kind of run out of ideas and a little bit run out of steam, but I am back and ready to go. Today's going to be an interesting episode because I'm going to be doing a video game theory. Yay! And today I will be talking about the blue flame from Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So, as of maybe a week ago, I am now the proud owner of a Nintendo Switch Lite, which has brought me into the modern gaming of Nintendo. The oldest console I had was a Wii, and that was, it's a great game console. But now I can play Breath of the Wild, and in doing so, I have been able to develop some theories I had come up with without playing it. The main theory I want to talk about today concerns the blue flame. So for those of you who have played the game, you know what to expect. For those who haven't, I would say early game spoilers. So to start out, as you venture through the Great Plateau, you meet an old man who turns out to be, spoilers, King, Rome Bosphorus Hyrule. And he manifests as a ghost with blue flames. But these aren't the same blue flames we see later on. I will come back to these flames because later on, as you get past Kakariko Village and you go into Hateno Village, there's a pretty important thing where you have to light a forge using a blue flame from the other side of town. So Link carries this flame up. Some people use a torch, some people use wooden weapons, some people use an arrow. And some people use a torch and a bomb and then run. It's really weird and awesome speedrun stuff. But the whole point is that Link has to get this blue flame from the bottom of a hill to the top of the hill. The weird thing about the blue flame is that even when it lights something on fire, the thing it lights still is blue flame. It doesn't turn red when it lights something else most of the time. But why is that? I mean, it's still fire. It should be having the same effect. The color of a flame is based on chemical properties where something will burn hotter or colder than something else. For instance, magnesium has a very hot flame and it burns bright white. Whereas propane, the lowest part, the hottest part, burns blue and then the rest of it burns red. So why is the blue flame burning blue and why does everything else it lights burn blue as well? My theory is that it's not just normal fire. This is partially because the temperature change from blue flame isn't different from normal fire, but also because blue flame is shown to be the power of Sheikah technology. So Link carries this blue flame up the hill, lights the Hateno Tech Labs forge, and the guidance stone turns back on inside. So what this tells us is that Sheikah technology is run off of two things. First is some sort of blue stone, and the second is the blue flame. So my theory then is that the blue flame is not only the power source, but is also what allowed the Sheikah to develop all their technology. So the way I'm thinking is that the history of the blue flame probably dates back sometime between 10,000 years and I would say maybe 15,000 years. The point is, it goes back a really long time after most of the games because Breath of the Wild is way down the timeline. So we know that the Sheikah would have discovered the blue flame and then used it. The question is, how did they discover it? It could have been from time shift stones. It could have been from maybe Poe souls. That was what I was thinking with the king back on the Great Plateau. Maybe there are some sort of souls from that. But here's what I'm thinking. Spoiler alert for The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. In Skyward Sword, this version of Link has to use the Master Sword before it became the Master Sword. And Skyward Sword actually documents the process of Link sort of forging the Master Sword out of a different form of the sword created by the goddess Hylia. So, Link uses three flames left by the three golden goddesses of Hyrule, using the red flame, the green flame, and the blue flame. See, the blue flame represents Nehru. Nehru is kind of the representation of wisdom. And the Sheikah have become the technological masters of the time. So what I'm thinking is that the symbolism of using the blue flame is to represent the wisdom the Sheikah had in constructing all the technology. That's why all their runes are blue and why they run off of the blue flame. So then somehow the Sheikah would have found the blue flame and then used it to form all their technology. That is the theory I've come up with. Let me know down in the comments if you disagree, if you have more things to point out. I know this is a very different form of episode of the Just Thinking podcast series. This is the first time I've done a video game theory, and it's right off of a long break. So in the future, some episodes might be about video game theories. They might be about real events, or they might just be about random things again, like whether dragons are dinosaurs. Tune in next week for that one. Alrighty, that is the end of today's episode. Without further ado, have a good one.